Hey guys, how's it going? Master Cal here, and today I'm going to be doing the 12th video of my 2021 NFL offseason preview series for the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners slipped from the NFC Champions to last in their division thanks to mostly injuries on both sides of the ball to key players. And so, the Niners have faced some questions with a lot of key free agents and some specific players. There's been questions about their future in San Francisco, so we'll see if Kyle Shanahan can lead the Niners to a bounce back. They've also lost some key staff members, with defensive coordinator Robert Saleh taking the New York Jets head coaching job, and I think it was passing game coordinator Mike LaFleur taking the offensive coordinator job at the Jets. So yeah. As far as their starters go, you got Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Garoppolo played in just 6 games last year because of multiple injuries. And now with all his guaranteed money out and those injuries have hit him in most of the years that he's been a quarterback, there are questions as to whether the Niners would move off of him or not. The most recent reports have said that the Niners will not move off Garoppolo unless they can find a legitimate upgrade, i.e. a Deshaun Watson. So we will keep an eye on that situation. Running back Raheem Mostert. Mostert had in the offseason requested a raise or a trade. He didn't end up getting either, and he stuck around. And he had, I guess, an okay season when he was on the field, but he only played in like 8 games because of injuries. The Niners' entire running back room dealt with a bunch of injuries. At left tackle is Sean Coleman, who opted out last season. He spent time with the Cleveland Browns and signed with the Niners as a backup, so he's on a 1-year deal. At left guard is Laken Tomlinson, former first-round pick of the Lions, who has been pretty solid the past, I think, probably 3-ish seasons with the Niners. He's entering a contract year. At center is Weston Richburg, who also dealt with injuries. Richburg has dealt with injuries in pretty much all 3 of his seasons with the Niners, so he's a guy that maybe they could look to move on from. At right guard is Jake Brendel, a former Dallas Cowboy. I don't remember if he opted out last year or if he was just a backup and didn't play any snaps. And then right tackle is Mike McGlinchey, who was, I believe, the 10th or the 9th overall pick in 2018, who's been pretty good on the right side for the Niners, and the plan is to keep him on the right side. Wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, first rounder in 2020, who had an excellent rookie season. I believe he was the 3rd or 4th best rookie in the league last year. Number 2 is Deebo Samuel, who had a pretty good rookie season. Unfortunately, couldn't follow that up because he also dealt with nagging injuries throughout the season, including a broken foot that he suffered in June that cost him all a training camp in the beginning of the regular season. Their third wide receiver is Travis Benjamin, who also opted out. Former Brown, former Charger. He signed a 1-year deal with the Niners, but didn't play for them, again, because he decided to set up the season because of COVID. Tight end George Kittle, who the Niners locked up with a long-term extension before the season. Kittle also had a pretty good year, but he also missed about half the season because of a multitude of injuries. On the defensive side, we got Dee Ford. Ford played, I think, in just 1 game total because of a neck injury, and the reports are that he isn't fully healthy yet, so and that could come into play if he can't pass a physical by the new league year. Defensive tackle, Javon Kinlaw, first-round pick in 2020, who the Niners took to replace the traded-away DeForest Buckner. He had a quiet rookie season, but it is worth noting that Buckner was kind of a late bloomer. He didn't really blossom until his 3rd year in the league, so there's definitely still time for Kinlaw, and they'll be patient with him. Next to him is Darion Daniels, a former undrafted free agent who saw some playing time because of some of the injuries up front. Off the other edge is Eric Armstead, who built off his strong 2019 season and had a pretty good 2020 in the first year of a 5-year contract that he signed with the Niners after re-signing with them. And also, Armstead himself was also kind of a late bloomer. He didn't really break out until later on in his rookie deal. So again, the Niners coaching staff can afford to be patient with Kinlaw. At linebacker, you got Fred Warner, who's arguably a top 5, top 3 linebacker in the NFL, who had another outstanding season. and he's in a contract year, so he's definitely in line for an extension. They also have Mark Nizitshua, who, former Dallas Cowboy. He's been mostly a special teamer, but didn't really see much action last year in either special teams or defense. After that is going to be Dre Greenlaw, 5th-round pick in 2019, who has seen steady playing time both these seasons and will probably slide into the full-time number 2 role, especially after the Niners traded Quan Alexander midseason to the Saints. The Niners did not have a single cornerback under contract the entire season. Like, pretty much they have so many defensive back free agents. So, yeah, safe to say that's going to be a massive position of need for them. At safety, you got Jimmy Ward, their 1st-round pick in 2014. Ward missed several games due to injury, but he otherwise had a pretty good season. And then next to him is Tarvarius Moore, a 3rd-round pick in 2018, who has been a backup for much of his career. He started some games because of some injuries there and had a solid enough season to where he probably will be the starter. They did not have a long snapper under contract when the season ended. At punter, you got Mitch Wishnowsky, who's in the 3rd year of his rookie deal, and he's been okay for them. And then kicker, Robbie Gould, who had a decent-ish season last year for the Niners. His first year didn't go that great. He was a bit better in year 2, though, and the Niners elected to keep him. They signed him to a new 2-year deal as opposed to releasing him or declining his option, so, yeah. Because of all the injuries, the Niners use so many players that they have a ton of free agents. So, let's see. First up is starting left tackle Trent Williams. When the Niners traded for Williams during the draft last year, because of Joe Staley's retirement, Williams got a no-tag clause, which means the Niners cannot use the franchise tag on him to keep him. So, we will see what kind of interest he'll get when he hits the open market. Cornerback Richard Sherman. Sherman has indicated that he will likely not be back with the 49ers. The Niners will prioritize other positions, and Sherman will go somewhere else. Sherman said he wants to play for 2 more years, and he's also open to playing safety for whoever he plays with. Defensive tackle Solomon Thomas, who has been underwhelming as the number 3 overall pick, and he's coming off an ACL tear, so he will likely be seeking a prove-it deal. Starting safety Jaquiski Tart. Fullback Kyle Juszczyk, who's a key part of that offense. The Niners definitely are going to want to bring him back. Running back Tevin Coleman, who just wasn't consistent enough in his 2 years in San Francisco because of injuries and just he hasn't just fared well in general. Wide receiver Kendrick Bourne, who had a nice year. Slot cornerback K'Wan Williams, who will probably get a lot of interest. Defensive end Ronald Blair. Blair did not play at all last year, recovering from an injury he suffered, I think, about halfway through the 2019 season. Center Ben Garland, who started for the injured Richburg. Defensive end Kerry Hyder. He had a pretty nice season off the edge after the injuries up front to guys like Nick Bosa. Defensive end Ziggy Ansah, who didn't really play much. Guard Tom Compton. Running back Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon overcame season-ending injuries before the 2018 and 2019 seasons and had an okay-ish but not great season. Cornerback Jamar Taylor. Tight end Jordan Reed. Center Tony Bergstrom. Number 2 corner Jason Verrett. Cornerback Akella Witherspoon. Cornerback Dante Johnson. Defensive end Dion Jordan. Center Hronis Grasu. Defensive end Jordan Willis, who they picked up at the trade deadline from the Jets. Backup quarterback C.J. Beathard. Long snapper Colin Holba was an exclusive rights free agent, but they waived him, and he's now on the Rams. Linebacker Joe Walker. Quarterback Josh Rosen, the former 10th overall pick in 2018 by the Cardinals. He was signed off of Tampa Bay's practice squad, and San Francisco brought him back as an exclusive rights free agent. Quarterback Nick Mullins is a restricted free agent. He's coming off of an elbow injury. Long snapper Tabor Pepper is a restricted free agent. The Niners have already re-signed him to a 2-year contract, which means that now their key special teams players are all under contract through 2022. Running back Jeff Wilson Jr. is a restricted free agent. The Niners re-signed him to a 1-year deal. Wilson had a pretty solid year as he was the most effective and most used running back, mostly because of all those injuries to the Niners running game, and he's expected to play a larger role next year. Tight end Ross Dwelley is a restricted free agent. Cornerback Ken Webster, exclusive rights free agent. He was re-signed. Wide receiver River Craycraft is an exclusive rights free agent. He officially re-signed with the team yesterday. Cornerback Emmanuel Mosley is a restricted free agent. Safety Kai Nakua is an exclusive rights free agent. He's been re-signed by the team. Guard Daniel Brunskill is an exclusive rights free agent, starting guard. Wide receiver Trent Taylor. Defensive tackle DJ Jones, starter as well. Safety Marcel Harris is a restricted free agent. And then finally, exclusive rights free agent running back Austin Walter. He has also been re-signed. The 49ers have about $13.36 million of cap space at the moment. Taking a look at their needs, definitely cornerback is a major need for them. They're going to need, like, pretty much, because Sherman, Williams, Verrett, Witherspoon, Mosley's a restricted free agent. Like, they're all set to hit the open market, and they're going to have to find replacements. Likely they'll have to use a draft pick on a corner, but they'll also have to find somebody in free agency. Now, they can control Mosley. It just depends on what kind of an offer sheet that Mosley would get. So I guess we'll see if the Niners place a second or a first-round tender on him, or if the Niners agree to a long-term deal. Let's see. They could probably use some reinforcements at the nose tackle position with Jones and Thomas free agents. I would imagine adding another receiver behind Ayuk and Samuel, if only for depth because of the injury concerns. If they lose Trent Williams in free agency, then I doubt Sean Coleman or Colton McKivitz will be their starting left tackle, so they'll need a replacement there. And then depending on some other cuts, they might look at some other positions as well. Like, for example, if they trade or cut Jimmy Garoppolo, they'll need a quarterback. If they cut Weston Richburg, they'll probably need a new center. Unless they move Daniel Brunskill to center, which is certainly possible. So as far as cap casualties go, Garoppolo obviously has been mentioned as a cap casualty, but again, Garoppolo's better than any of the other quarterbacks that they have, Rosen, Beathard, and Mullins, and he wins games when he's on the field. So unless the Niners can land themselves Deshaun Watson, Garoppolo's going to be the quarterback next year. They could cut Mostert, but I don't think they will. I imagine they'll cut Richburg. I think they'll sign Tomlinson to an extension, maybe. They could cut Benjamin and save a couple million in cap space. Ford is an interesting case because Ford has injury guarantees, which means that if he can't pass a physical, his salary is going to be fully guaranteed, and in which case the Niners won't be able to release him. If Ford is healthy, I imagine the Niners will cut him for cap savings and then roll with Armstead and Bosa. Nizichoa should be a cap casualty, and then that's going to about do it for their cap casualties then. So, again, cornerback is a major priority. Other positions they could add to defensive line, a couple positions on the offensive line, depth at wide receiver, and yeah. So that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next offseason preview video.